What's up, world?
Love that energy. That's melee energy right there.
Energy. That's some great energy.
Yeah.
That's how you bring it in.
Oh my gosh. Yo, welcome to the Nola Rowe Experience podcast. Thank you for being here. I am your host, Nola Rowe.
What's goody? It's Mr. Melee. You had to outdo me that time.
I took his energy. Now he don't know what to do.
What's good? What's good? What's goody? We here.
Yeah, we're here. And we're here with
Royale The Light,
Light.
a.k.a. Terrence. Or should I say Terrence, a.k.a. Royale The Light? Either one. I'm known by many names.
Yes.
But I'm honored to be here with Nola Rowe and Melee. This is just great. We've been talking about this for a while, so I'm glad we can make this happen.
Yes.
This is magic.
We've been talking about this since your baby shower.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So everybody's at the baby shower having a blast. We all had a good time. We're not going to talk about me losing a prize that Ivory cheated for. It's all good. Well, Ivory didn't cheat. I don't want her to hear this and think that I'm calling her a cheater. The people who were in charge cheated. So I don't mind having smoke with the people.
I wasn't in charge. I was a guest.
I don't mind
at my
having
own
smoke with that
baby
lady.
shower.
I don't know who that older woman was, but
That's family.
we could
That's
have
family.
smoke. Sorry.
That's family.
I have
you
smoke
know.
with your family.
No.
So
It's a part of it. Family has smoke with family. You know, it is what it is.
Family fight sometimes. It's all good.
We ended up having like this side conversation about
Yes.
farming and
Indeed.
the state of the soil on the planet right now. And this conversation got so deep. Like we were going through rabbit hole after rabbit hole.
After
a while, I was
drink,
like,
you know,
Royale, just go mingle with your guests and come on the podcast. Let's make this a podcast episode.
Yeah. And I'm here.
And we here.
Yes.
And we're here. I
Beautiful.
love reliability.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for not only being on time but coming early.
Oh, for sure.
Mhm.
For sure. They say when you come on time, you're late.
Mm,
So
I gotta
I
take
came
that.
early.
You came on
so I
time.
can be on time.
perfect.
Right.
Love it.
Yes.
So we're talking about the fact that it's being projected
Mm-hmm.
that in the near future, I don't want to call it far future because to me, 20 years is near.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
10 years is near.
Right. Mm-hmm.
In the near future, within that time span, we are going to have a food shortage
We are.
on our planet.
We are. I would argue that we already have a food shortage. It's just not being promoted and not perceived as a food shortage. When we look at our diets and what we eat, you got to think about it. Like, how often are you eating stuff from like a fresh garden, whether it's yours or somebody that you know? So we're living in a food shortage. I mean,
so
and
you're
we just get
saying that
supplemented with like bullshit and we just eat it.
let's
and I
talk
eat bullshit
about
too.
let's talk about people living in impoverished neighborhoods and people who don't have access to fresh foods.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? Because I feel like anybody who's listening to this is like, we're eating good. We have all these restaurants, Uber Eats. Like, you can get food on demand.
Yeah.
Why would we call it a shortage? Are you talking about nutrition?
I'm talking about nutrition and just the ability for you to provide your own food. And so that's the shortage. And we've had that for generations. So I think if we change our perception of it and we start really like training the next generations, our kids to be self-sufficient, not only with food and other rights, then, you know.
So what would happen if, hypothetically,
every
every single supermarket in this country closed
single
for like, let's say 6 months or so? No supermarket is open.
Madness.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my constitutional right of the Second Amendment to make sure that me and my family, I have a license.
So basically what you're saying is if all supermarkets are closed, we are so dependent on the Food and Drug Administration telling us this is what you're going to eat, this is what's available to you. And if these places that sell food, or I'm going to put air quotes for food, if these places are not available, we're not eating.
Yeah. And I'll say, you know what, let's not wait until we get that news report that's mainstream. You know, why wait until that point?
I don't feel like
we can see it's gonna happen naturally just based off of just the lack of soil, nutritional soil.
I honestly feel like we would have to be in such a detrimental state where people are literally maybe biting other people for the mainstream media to actually say something, because Sadhguru, which is my guy. Love him. Melee, that's Mele's guy too. He's actually on a global campaign right now. One man is on a global campaign, and obviously just not one man. He's
he's huge following.
He has thousands of volunteers.
Sadhguru.
He is on a global campaign going from nation to nation to nation and pleading with their leaders, letting them know like the soil is so bad right now. Horrible. That within no time we're going to have such a food shortage that the crime rates are going to go crazy. Even New York, he was like, yo, I don't want to be in New York in like 2030 or 2045 or something like that.
Any city, any metropolis, any city with a population is everybody's on top of each other. It's just buildings. You can't just go and just look into the trees or the wilderness. Like they're going to have it the worst. And they're going to get hit first just because of the dense population. Everybody can't eat. And then it's going to turn to everybody got to fend for themselves. So you have those people who are already armed, already willing to do foul shit, going to get ahead. And as they say, the strongest, going to survive. But
the hungriest.
To what Sadhguru was saying about, I took a course and I learned in that course, it was a horticulturist course that said that it was only 10% of the soil in the whole world that's actually nutritional enough for you to grow crops and harvest. Now, 10%? It sounds like it's far-fetched, but it's actually 7%. Now, there's a lot of land like in the world that like most people live on. You know, like we don't live on deserts. We're not living on like the water, obviously. So it sounds like, what is he talking about? But if you really think about it, I mean, it's true. And it's only going to get worse. So for me, there's means. Like even though the soil is losing its nutritional value, we do have fertilizers, natural fertilizers you can use. And hydroponics and aquaponics is going to be a technology that I feel is going to be a necessity because you don't need soil. You can just provide the right nutrients directly to the root of the plant.
I see people already thriving,
and they're doing it. And that's why we shouldn't be waiting for the government or the news to tell us our leaders. And I think it's great that Sadhguru is going to the leaders, but those aren't the people you should be talking to, in my opinion. The people that we need to be talking to and touching are us, the people that just have a little bit of space.
The people who won't be throwing up smoke in your face.
Because the leaders aren't incentivized. If they're a leader, more than likely they have the means, they have the land. Why would they care about? They don't really care about your well-being. So it's great that
people don't care about it. The leaders are not going to care about it.
And it's great that he's doing that. Not to take away from his movement, but it's like people like us, the working class people all over the world, need to be the ones that need to be knowing like this is very important that we grow. And even if we don't have the space, at least create a community where we can all grow and trade crops and just grow crops and be self-sufficient for each other. And then create that energy for the next generation.
And that is exactly why I wanted to have this conversation with you on a public forum, because it's on us. And it's not just about food. It's about everything. That's my motto with everything. There's so many radical things that I've done that I'm not going to just put everything out there where people are like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, because I don't want to wait for somebody to tell me.
And it might sound crazy, but the crazy people now are going to be the one. Damn, you know what? That motherfucker was right.
No, but they've been coming back. They've been coming back like, what do I do? And I'm like, I'm here for you no matter what, no matter how many doubts you've had. But I find it very fucking I find it extremely alarming that there is going to definitely be a time if we don't catch this thing now. Like I was talking about something separate yesterday about global warming, reading this article about the day-to-day things that we don't consider, we don't think about. We're thinking about the weather. We're thinking about all of these different things, but we don't think about the fact that in the future, places like the far west, California and such, places that have a lot of wildfires and a lot of droughts that nobody talks about.
Goodness, yeah,
exactly.
Those places will eventually no longer be eligible for home insurance.
Yeah, because the insurance companies knows that. Shit is gonna go under. You know?
But see, that's not the type of thing we think about when we're thinking about global warming. We're thinking about, it's going to be a lot of hurricanes or whatever. No, your day-to-day life will be impacted in a very big way, and the people in those areas will have to relocate.
Yeah, have to. They don't have a choice.
They will, because your house is not insured. When a fire comes, it's on you.
Yeah.
You put all this money, equity, everything into your house, your most precious values, your kids, everything, and like they're telling you not going to insure it. But that's really, I mean, I guess we can look at that as a wake up call, because that's them telling you, shit is about to go wrong. They might not say it directly,
right?
But that's them telling you, we're not insuring that for a reason,
right?
So we can look at that as a wake up call,
right?
Even if they don't say it directly, you kind of just have to.
You got to read between the lines.
But let's be honest though, right? Being able to stay in your house, pick up your device,
right,
and within 30 minutes you have a exotic meal at your door. You can have an exotic person show up at your door. You can have so many things.
It's a convenience.
Clothing, furniture, car, everything you can have delivered to your door. That convenience, how do you even... I said this on the podcast when we talked about colonics.
I saw that podcast, by the way. And you're right, I take like 4 to 6 shits a day, just naturally. I know y'all were talking about that. You said, I take. Yeah.
Why do I feel? Why do I feel like he was like, when I go there, I'm gonna tell them.
I
should frequently.
I'm an avid watcher, so if you're not, you better keep watching the Nola
appreciate it.
podcast.
Thank you so much.
Taking at least 5 shits a day, or your pipes will be clogged up.
So, or your pipes clogged up in your house?
No.
Not your body pipes, your house pipes. Because that toilet is like, I'm tired of being flushed.
6 shits a day.
That's a lot of shits. You gives a lot of shits. It
depends what I'm eating.
But what I was saying on there is that people normally need things to be wild and crazy before they actually take the initiative to change something or look into changing something.
Well, I will say, like, the point that you said about the convenience, I like we're so used to giving up like our ability to be self-sustainable
just for
because it's convenient that we can get something fast, but we'll realize in the future that convenience is never like
it's
beneficial
not guaranteed.
in the long
but it
run.
doesn't matter.
In the long
it
run.
doesn't matter to the majority of people. And you just need the majority of people to agree on one thing. Obviously, you're always going to have that small batch of people who are like, I'm not with that. I'm not doing that. I know better. But it's usually like the vast majority of people who agree on this one thing. And once they agree on the one thing, the air quotes powers that be, they're like, that's what the people want. Let's give them what they want. We can have 20,000 trucks on the road delivering like bonnets for heads, and
we don't own the delivery system. We don't own the bonnets.
This is a whole
these are things, and again, this goes to my point about self reliance, and the food is one aspect, but it's really every aspect of our lives. And so I had a conversation with AD like some time back, but it's like we have to train each generation. Like, we're not going to be able to do it all because we're in so deep. We're in such a deep hole that
Thank
we
you for saying
take
that.
a long time.
Like, and don't feel like we have to take the pressure and bear all of that.
That's
to, like,
wisdom
be the
right there.
You just
like,
got to plant the seed.
Realistically, you just burn yourself out and you just give up.
I need that point right there to resonate.
You
Let
burn
people
yourself
know
out.
that when you don't see changes happening immediately, people are discouraged. They're like, oh, this world is never going to get better. It takes time. I went to the Martin Luther King Memorial and spent hours in this place reading what he was doing. And I'm like, he really woke up every single day with this one mission
Devoted.
Of doing a certain task for his people. Because now my language is changing around it the more I learn. But the thing about it is, it took him years and years and years and years. And then when he made the speech, the I Have a Dream speech, he didn't say things are going to happen now. He talked about the far future. And some of the changes that we saw were 50 years into the future. So it's super important to understand that whatever you're implementing now, it's not gonna always be for you.
No, you just gotta plant the seed. Like we're literally talking about, like with the helping the soil. It's stuff that, like you said, may not benefit this generation or present now, but we just plant the seed. Literally plant those seeds.
And I think
same thing with the gardens. Like,
I think people also don't always feel comfortable knowing that it's not about me. People have this issue with connecting with humans they've never seen yet. Like it's your great grandkids, it's your descendants.
And it is you. It is you.
It is you.
Like, we have to rewire our minds, because not only are we're like backwards and upside down in our way of thinking. So like we have to like really retrain from every aspect, because it is us. It's just even as simple as, you know, even if you own a home, right? And we don't want to make sure your next generation has to feel like they necessarily have to buy a home. Not to say, of course, they want to buy a home, but if you have a home, don't just, I'm going to have a home and sell it, and then you got to fend for yourself. So now you're having your people start from zero when they could at least have some land. Like
when real estate is the biggest resource.
Yeah, it's the biggest resource. And I can even, you know, just specifically like my family, like back in 1800s, we had land back in North Carolina or South Carolina.
Really?
I don't have access to that land now. You know, the Nelsons at that time had, you know, that had some land, but it's like we're so far gone that it's like.
Do you have any idea what happened to the land?
No, you know. I mean, I don't know, and I need to do my research.
Because now I'm curious.
Well,
because a lot went down in South Carolina. At that time.
I'll say this: I know that my family in 1912 moved out from South Carolina to Long Island City, and that's how we got to New York.
What? But, Long Island City, Queens?
Yeah, in 1912, and then. We lived in Queens, and then now we're in Long Island. But, you know, like, who knows what happened to it?
That's so cute. I love how records are kept in this country. Like, there's so much that it's hard for me to find out.
The census, you can go through the censuses. A lot of these pagan churches, and really the churches are like the first organizations that really ran and kept records.
Recorded,
So you can go to these, like, churches that have been here for thousands of years and, like, literally see names. They say ships if you came on a ship. You know, and kind of just trace it back, because it's a whole other conversation. But not everybody, everybody that came that was a slave, boy, was on a ship. And actually, the likelihood of millions of people being shipped from Africa is very highly unlikely. It sounds
crazy, right? I know.
Most of the people here were indigenous. They were here before Columbus.
Yeah. So that's something people don't talk about.
Their history was just cut off,
and
so they start indoctrinating the youth. Right? If you have a 5-year-old boy doesn't know the history, you tell them this is what happened, they're growing up thinking that's what happened. So by the time they tell their kids are getting such a distorted and upside down, warped perception of where they are.
Well, every black person I hear was their ancestors were slaves,
came from Africa, or they came from Africa. You know, a lot of us didn't come from Africa.
So I'm actually going to make sure we jump back into our original thing.
Yeah, because that's a whole.
But this is what I love about organic conversations, because this wasn't a conversation that was scripted, structured, or anything. But the one thing that I want to say is, we are today witnessing the fact that history has always been changed.
Right.
The narrative of history has always been changed, but we're actually here witnessing people saying, we don't want to use the word slavery. We don't want to teach our kids about inequality and the civil rights movements and all of these different things that's been going on. This, to me, is proof that history has always been changed.
Yeah, repeated itself. It's been changed even since the early Christian times.
But now we're here seeing it, and we're like, we don't like it.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned the 5-year-old kid not knowing, kids of the future a lot of them will not understand what happened with our ancestors.
Think, like, for instance, we're living in COVID. Another 100 years from now, they can just say whatever they want about this time, and then, like, if you don't keep on telling them, no, that's not what happened. We were there. We lived it. They're growing up like so warped that no, COVID was. You don't know what they're going to decide to, like,
exactly.
Make it, you know? So we have to think actively like that.
And I just wanted to drop that piece of gem in there. Once you mentioned the 5-year-old kid that wouldn't know, I want to just throw that in there, that history is changed by people who want to control the narrative, right? And who want to have the power of how you think. Yeah. But let's talk about sustainable farming.
Yes. So, like I said before, it's essential that we are farmers. Even if you don't have a lot of land. We're in New York. We're shooting in New York, so we're all from New York. even if you have a little lot of land, it's self-sufficient enough for you
little
to grow.
lotta?
A little lot.
Oh.
Like a lot. I mean, like a lot. Like
a little
lot of
little
land.
lot.
Oh, I'm like a little lotta. All right.
A lot.
Little lot of land.
Even if it's like a lot that's no bigger than this. You know what I mean? It's
anything.
Enough. It's enough
Your
for you,
windowsill.
it's enough for you
your
to be
kitchen
sustainable.
window. Anything with a source of light.
Right. But I do have the answer for the future, and it's going to turn to hydroponic, aquaponic forms of growing, aeroponic.
Can you explain what that is?
Yes. So hydroponics is a form of growing where you don't need this. It's a soilless medium. You don't need soil to grow. Plants can sustain off of just sitting in water with the direct nutrients. Sitting the roots are being soaked in the nutritional water.
Yeah.
That's getting some air because that kind of helps the plant to grow faster. You don't need it, but it helps it grow faster.
And the light.
And the light. So it can be outdoor too. You don't necessarily need like artificial lighting, but hydroponic will be the answer. If you don't have soil, just make sure you have the nutrition.
Is that the same as those? A lot of my friends have these white towers in their homes. It's like a
drip tower system. Well, that's a form of there's like 3 different forms of hydroponics. So that tier you see, which is definitely valuable, that's a drip tower system. So those tubings like PVC pipes.
Right, the water comes from the top.
Yeah, the water comes from the top. It's filled with the water is directly filled with the nutrients from like potassium, calcium, nitrogen.
Minerals.
That's basically what you need. And then the water actively is just all day just touching the roots. And it pulls the roots down. It lets the roots grow.
So it's like time released.
Or if you have a deep water culture, which is instead of it being a PVC pipe and you have just a big ass tub, it could be like this big, like 3 feet deep, and the roots are sitting on top of like a floating raft with a hole in it. The plants are sitting in the water,
and it's
so there's different forms, but essentially it's just the roots being soaked with the nutrients from the water. It has a fast turnover, so the plants can grow basically half the time it would take if it was just in the soil.
Wow.
And you're losing 90% less of the water. Like you don't have to keep watering. Like the water just sits there, and then you just have to actively.
And it takes what it needs. The plant takes as much water as it needs, as opposed to you overwatering it.
Yeah, it's just sitting. It's just sitting in the water. And so that's like one of my dreams. Like I wrote a business plan. And so I incorporated sustainable gem farms, which is a small scale farm that I would like to eventually make bigger, but it's just a start. You know, like I said, we can't all feel like we got to do everything. Like, but we gotta start. Like maybe the next generation is the one that can take the baton and keep going with it.
You know what's very interesting? Years and years ago, I remember having a conversation with my friend, and I was like, it looks like the people of the future are gonna need to know how to code. And she's like, actually, I think they're going to need to learn how to farm.
Facts.
And this was so long ago. And it always stuck with me that she said that because we have to go back to basics.
It's literally the opposite of that.
I want to say something to that, too, because if you look at it simply as this, the reason why it's essential for us to know how to farm is because all natural resources is what they're able to build industries off of. Like you see this wood right here.
Fact.
That wood is from a tree that was grown. You know what I mean? The clothes you wear, cotton from a plant.
Water.
Literally everything comes from.
I was talking about Tiffany about being mad about paying for water. I would tell her, I was like, I'm so mad that we have. They've convinced us to pay for water that comes out of the
and
sky.
Wood, firewood, like you know, and it's just one of those things that we just have to condition ourselves to be self-sufficient. And even if that means like this generation. We got to set like a 200-year plan. Like they said, the Great Wall of China was a 2,000-year plan. Obviously, nobody's 2,000 years old. So that means they had to actively create a plan that, that generation is going to have to complete and do that part. We're not going to be here for it, but
and that's the deal.
Crazy.
That's the deal with any.
And 2,000 years, by the way, is 20 generations because a generation is 20 years. So that's basically 20 generations to complete that. You know, and we have to think like that. You know,
any kind of major wealthy family or organization, they don't plan for tomorrow. They plan for years beyond what they will
that's the way to go.
Witness, you know what I mean? So a person who doesn't know how to farm, who has no patience with learning all of these different things, and just okay, I'm talking about myself. All right, let me just say it's me, because listen, there was a time when I was going through this enlightenment. And I was like, I need more plants around me. I need more plants around me. I went out. I bought hundreds of dollars in plants. Literally, my bedroom had plants everywhere. Yeah. And within a month, everybody's dead. And I'm like, I did everything they said. I put all the little vitamins. I watered.
Let me ask you a question. How big were the pots you used?
It varied depending on the size of the plant.
That's another thing that I tell people. When I was even out there in PA, I was telling them, like, so one of my family members through marriage, they had like these solo cups and they were growing tomatoes. I'm like, that looks great. I'm glad you did that, but you're restricting the roots. So it's like you have to put it in big. You have to transplant them. Like they can't just be sitting in a solo cup thinking you're gonna grow tomatoes. And not to say you did that.
I kind of a little bit.
But it's like you have to, they need to be the roots need to be in a space where they can grow. It's like a fish tank. Like a fish will only grow as big as that tank is. The roots operate in that same way. They need to be either directly in the ground, so there's no limit on how big it can grow, or in a big enough pot, 10, 15, 20-gallon pot, where the roots can just get huge and they'll grow. And a lot of people just miss that step. Like they just keep it in that little ass pot. And they're like, no, you have to get it in a bigger pot or it just won't reach its maximum
I don't
potential.
think mine even got to the stage of needing to be transferred because I did learn that from my mom. Yeah. But I think for me, it's an energetic thing. Yeah. Like I want the plants around me, but if I'm being completely honest, my energy is saying something completely different. I don't want to do the work. So for the people who don't want to do the work, these plants, they sense if they're being loved, right? I understand my vibe and I understand how my vibe affects my environment. So for the people who are like, I don't want to farm, what are we talking about here? But I want to eat from the earth. I want to not have Amazon knocking on my door every day. And I want to contribute. What happens to how do those people get active if...
I say you start small, and I say I can give you my start. So I started growing in 2019.
Damn, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, no. So what happened was
I saw your farm. That shit is mad impressive.
Word. I saw COVID coming, and I honestly was under the impression that this shit was gonna fall. I thought the whole country was gonna fall, and they was like fend for yourself. So like I kind of got some like
everybody thought that.
Yeah.
And so I got armed. I started growing. Got some few generators, and I was like, okay, we didn't get to that point yet. It will happen eventually, but it was just like I just saw the importance of just because
being able to rely on yourself.
Yeah. So from there, I was growing crops, fruits, vegetables, different assortments, herbs, and then most recently got into cannabis because not only
I saw you grow a cannabis tree that was taller than like a basketball player, like. Yeah. 6 feet something. How tall was it?
6.
I saw a picture of it. I was like,
I had one that was like 10 feet.
Wow.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. Is that normal?
Me neither.
Well, and it is. It's actually pretty normal. These plants can get huge. They actually are very durable. What I did was because I have a greenhouse. The greenhouse actually harnesses the temperature, so it gives these plants the temperature that they need
environment.
To really grow. So if you have a greenhouse, which they're not costly, like it just depends on what size you get. That can really just show a drastic change in like how big your plants can grow. So the greenhouse really helped, and I had a plant that was 10 feet. I won. My dad, this guy cut down one of them plants too.
Oh my god!
But this is what I love my dad.
I'm not gonna have you beefing with your dad on my podcast.
I'll never beef
I love your
dad.
dad.
That's my dad, man.
Love him so much.
He already did too much for me.
But you know what? Hurricane Sandy happened, and I remember going to the supermarket, and that was my first time ever having this experience. Like, is this an apocalypse? Like, what is happening here on Long Island? The supermarket was empty.
That's crazy.
They gave us a little taste.
I was like,
a little taste.
Oh, so I'm coming from another country where we don't use baby formula. Like, it wasn't something that we relied on so heavily that when the stores ran out, our babies were starving. Babies were eating without formula. So I have a different lens on my eyes, right? Different perspective. So when I see the store is empty, I'm like, What is happening here?
Yeah, why y'all tripping?
I mean, honestly, I believe it's intentional. I believe it's really a way to control population and really a way to speed up the process of this whole ship failing. And when I say this ship, like this country of America.
Yeah.
So it's like small ways to speed up the process.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you don't have food, you can't survive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, that's why I believe, again, it's just essential we grow. And we gotta do it together collectively. Like anybody has questions on growing, like I love to grow. Like the reason what made it easier for me is I started growing in 2019, but my grandmother has been growing my whole life. Like she's the master. Like I'm not even close to her. Like she has plants older than me. She has lemon trees like older than me sitting in her house that she's been able to like just keep and still eat off of it.
Wow.
So I was introduced into growing through her. But then I just took my own initiative to be like, I can't just rely on grandma.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Are you going to actually get into the business of consulting?
I would love to. I do it. I absolutely do it.
Because I told you, I was like, I need you to come here
Mm-hmm.
because I'm migrating back.
Okay.
And I need you to come here and let's have a real conversation about setting up a plan.
Yeah,
and making things happen. You're like, no, I'll just come and do it as a favor. I'm like, no,
we can do it.
I want to hire you as a consultant because this is something that we need to bang out in our community. And let me do some kale. I can eat kale all day. You do tomatoes. No, don't do tomatoes. I don't eat that.
You ain't tomatoes?
No.
Tomatoes are good.
Tomatoes are gross.
You know what?
That's a good idea.
This is what I want to say because I did not come here empty-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe with this gift that I came with could be the start to it.
What you got?
So let me just
this is a first. A first. We haven't ever got a gift past guest.
Don't
take notes.
Stop.
Okay.
Get out of here. What?
Oh.
I had bought one of my seedlings.
I can't let my brother see that.
One of the seedlings from Sustainable Jenna Farms, my garden.
Pound cake.
And this is a pound cake. You can't eat this, but you can definitely enjoy it once it gets to full, maturity.
So this is cannabis.
Yes, it is.
That's
pound
beautiful.
Cake, a beautiful strain. This is one of the latest.
Why do you call it pound cake?
Because those are the genetics.
But why did you choose that name?
Well, I didn't choose that. That's the actual strain. Like
got
how
it.
Different, like,
right.
Kush,
okay. So it came.
That's pound cake.
So, Mel and I don't live together.
This is the podcast. Look, we have the class animal. We have the class.
So this is the podcast plant.
So I just have one plant. And I'm just gonna put whoever is, I guess, gonna be held responsible.
Oh, we can't keep it down here.
We're all gonna be responsible for this.
Just take care of
her. Because the advice that you gave was to start with one.
Yes.
Start small. So we're gonna start with the cannabis. I honestly wanted to start with kale. Yeah. Because I'm not a cannabis girl. Like
I'm a cannabis.
I'm
guy.
not sure.
Well, I have other stuff that's not a plant, but I actually have some oil and some brownies too.
Because I'm not sure what I would do with this since I'm not into the THC aspect of it. CBD, I can rock with that.
Well, I'm sure somebody else in the vicinity.
Listen, everybody else in the vicinity. Okay. Everybody. All right,
we
cool.
know what to do.
So we appreciate this. What we want to leave, we're about to go into another segment in a second.
Yes.
But what we want to leave our people with is the fact that this is not a drill.
Yeah.
Eventually, the planet is going to run out of natural foods. Mm-hmm. If you guys are okay eating space food that cost $45 per plate, because that's what's going to go, this whole inflation thing, listen, baby, this is this is a drill. They're testing you out because guess what? Things are going to become more and more expensive, especially for the people who are living in New York City. Yep. Cost of living is going to become super wild. Mm-hmm. People keep migrating to the south. People keep migrating to the north, upstate, Florida, Georgia, whatever. It doesn't matter where you go at this point. It's going to catch you. Mm-hmm. But what we want to instill is the fact that we can do it. Yeah. People were doing it before us.
Let's say this, man. If you're a descendant of a slave, there's no excuse.
Facts.
We're farmers, sharecroppers. That's where we came from.
Facts.
What happens
but even without slavery, because some people are going to detach from that.
Right.
we came from a world where we didn't have C-Town.
Everybody did it.
We didn't have Aldi.
Yeah.
We didn't have Whole Foods.
You have to do it yourself.
How were we eating for all these years?
Yeah.
Thousands of years of
and
eating.
Gathering. And planting
We don't
and
have
farming.
to do a full-blown, hey, you're in the dirt doing shit all day, because you still have your 9 to 5. Because we're still in a
I
society.
still have a 9 to 5.
The structure of our society
you know,
is you need to pay for your light.
You gotta
you need
be
to pay
realistic.
for your phone.
You gotta be
You need to pay
realistic.
for your water.
Yeah.
You need to pay for your heat. People still have to go to work. But if I make some kale, if I grow some kale, and Mele, you grow some cucumbers, and AD grows what's some other shit that I like? Some squash.
I don't have the squash. I grew squash, but I have kale and a cucumber. My grandmother gave me a cucumber plant just like a few weeks ago.
I love it. Somebody else does some strawberries.
That's true.
And the other,
that's the community part of it.
Yeah.
Right. We all, because when you do farm, so much comes out of it. You can't eat it by yourself. You're going to want to share it.
That's such a good point.
We collaborate. We share the food with each other. You spend less money because you're going to spend a little bit of money one time and then you're eating for a really long time.
Yeah.
The other thing that's going to happen, producers looking at me like, let's go into the other segment. But the other thing that's going to happen is something that we don't really understand. There's a reason why food go in and out of season. You're not supposed to be eating the same food all year round.
Nope.
You're not. So if something is not available right now, you wait until it's back in season. That's how I grew up.
Like cannabis, perfect example. You can't, especially in New York, you can't start growing and like germinating your seeds until like end of March, early April. By October, it's a wrap. There's no more cannabis in New York. You know what I mean? Just because the temperature gets too cool for this type of cool.
Exactly.
Hot
so you take your little break, and then when it comes back, you get back into it.
Or you just grow enough where it can last you.
And our bodies are actually acclimated to this seasonal thing. Your body knows that when it gets cold, it's going to want the winter foods. And in the summertime, you get the summer foods.
Right.
That we're not supposed to have access to all of these things on demand all the time.
Like you just go to the grocery store and get anything.
And the shit don't even taste good because it's not even in season. They're forcing it to grow somewhere. And then when you get it, it's flavorless. So that's another thing that we don't normally talk about, but if we're doing this the right way, you're gonna get your tomatoes, you're gonna get your whatever. And from this day forward, we've been waiting to do this podcast so we can say that this is our mission.
Yeah, this is what we actively.
This is our mission.
This is what it is.
We're definitely gonna be going live on the podcast page if you want to talk about the Second Amendment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about that because you want to be able to protect your family. You want to be able to feed your family.
And I want to, that's perfect because what I'm going to be doing for people that's residents of Suffolk County, July 30th, I'm going to bring us all together and guide us on how we can get our licenses. I already have mine, but I want my family, I want my friends, I want us all to be able to have our license. Shit is going crazy. We have people shooting up grocery stores. You never know where you're going, and not to say you have to walk around with fear. Yeah, and I'm not saying you have to walk around with fear because I mean life isn't just supposed to be walking around with fear, but walk around prepared. You know, and I just feel like even like these left-leaning media outlets trying to condemn the Supreme Court. That was, you know, how impactful that was that they pretty much told New York State that it was bullshit, that you're going against the Constitution, telling people that they cannot have their firearm on them. You know, maybe if more people had their firearm on them in that Buffalo grocery store, it would have not been to the extent of 10 people. You know what I mean? So
that was such a wild, like when I first found out about that situation,
it's ridiculous.
It's one of those things. There's so many times where I'll hear news and I'll be like, I don't want to know the details.
Yeah. I didn't watch the video. I just heard it, but I can't watch it.
I just had to retract.
I never watched it.
I had to breathe on it, meditate on it. Like, my body is at the point where I'm like, I don't know how much more I can consume of this stuff. But at the same time, you do want to know if you're safe. And how do you know? You create it.
Yeah, and we just have to practice just our self-reliance and just passing it on.
If a supermarket is not around, you still have your food. You can still eat.
You can't wait for the police. By the time the police get there, his body's dead. They're just writing a report, and they're gonna try to find who did it. But
and
it's
in
already
some
too late.
cases, they won't even help.
Exactly.
Like we've heard.
Exactly. So
normally, I feel like we go into this rapid fire energy and we're at the end, and I can, but it just doesn't feel natural to my body to just transition into the next thing. Okay. So we just breathe.
Okay, let's take a deep breath.
All right, so we're just gonna breathe all that stuff out.
We even have beautiful prana, like infinite waters, we say.
Let me get the plant.
Oh, yes, my brother, yes.
Lovely. We're ready.
Yes.
Faint little smell of this. Good.
We're ready.
So that can stay in a pot for like another maybe month, and then like
month.
Yeah,
it's gonna grow that fast.
Maybe another month, but like you kind of have to just watch it. Really. All plants are different, so I could say a month. It might be sooner, but it definitely has to be in a bigger pot, or directly into the ground.
As we go into segment 2, I just want to make sure that we are acknowledging how important your mindset is in a time like this.
Yeah.
This is very important. When I first met you, I had no idea. Okay. I mean, I didn't create an idea. I just didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I'm very impressed and also very ecstatic because this is exactly what we need. Like, we have a lot of stuff going on. Sure. But this is exactly what I want, and this is exactly what we need as a people. Right. So, gratitude to you.
Yes,
we appreciate you.
I'm glad to be here. Like I said, I wouldn't miss this for the world. I've been in my mind just talking about wanting to come here just to get the message out too.
We need
because
to continue pushing this.
Message. I'm not big on social media, but I still believe that there needs to be like the message out there.
Absolutely.
I'm more of a person like I talk to people on the phone, like in person. Like I'm very
Yeah, you're very human. That's what you're saying. You're doing human shit. Yeah. All right, cool. We love it. Yeah. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Yep, let's do it.
Ready.
So we're going into the SOA Q&A, aka Adrenaline Question of the Day. If I could relive one memory at any time, what would it be?
The evil laugh.
I remember this is when I was in the cannabis world.
Yes.
And I'm going with this memory because it's the first that came to me. I could have definitely diverted and said some other thing that might seem a little bit more wholesome, but I'm going with the first.
Being real.
So, Bay and I, we were indulging in, I think it might have been edibles. I don't know if we smoked or had brownies or whatever. And we were watching videos, one video on YouTube that was, it's a video that I will never watch again.
That video y'all told me to watch?
Yes.
I don't even remember.
I'm not going to watch that video, like, because I feel like the first time I watched it, I don't think I've ever been impacted like that. Wow. I was just, my jaw, both of us, we were just there like, the only thing we said for like however long the video was, wow. Wow.
I did the same thing.
Wow.
If I don't mind, can you tell me what video this was?
We'll give it to you because we don't have the name.
The name of it, but it's one of these crazy
we'll find
videos
it.
like that. Like
it's also it's quick. It's quick moving.
Weird,
a lot of stuff is happening.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you gotta smoke or indulge
right.
edibles
Yeah. If you watch it sober, it's gonna be like, what the? This is so
but the thing
stupid.
about it is, it's moving really, really fast. Yeah. But there's so many messages, and you're like, "Whoa, not Barack Obama!
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, George Bush too! Like, just so much
conspiracy theories types, or
I don't know if it was conspiracy theories.
Stuff.
It was more of
what a message,
revelations
yeah,
and
okay. That's a good way.
Okay, now I'm seeing things that I didn't think about before. You know, it was
and
so
all
dope.
You're hearing sound with it and sound effects. It's
but I just be on my natural high now. I just
Okay. Which is more powerful, seduction or knowledge? And I'm going to instantly say knowledge. For me, at least, I feel like even if you have, you're very good at seducing people, like there's still a cap on how far you could go. But with knowledge, the possibilities are endless. Because, see, knowledge is, like, you don't find out knowledge. It's just revealed to you. So there might be a lot of things right now that we may think we know, whether it be technology, information, whatever. But when it's revealed to you in that right time, it can instantly go. You be from like a poor person to like being rich, just with that one little piece of knowledge that you can get. And I don't know if seduction can give you that same type of I guess benefit as knowledge. So I would have to say knowledge. I enjoy reading.
That was a good question. I feel like that question was for you.
Yeah,
that was such a you question.
That was a good one. Shout out to AD, the producer, holding it down. That was a great question.
Are you more nervous of getting old or being broke? Definitely being broke. My whole mindset is on generational wealth. So getting old is just a part of it. Getting old is just something that I can't stop. I can't help. But I can help being broke. I can change that. So definitely being broke is a no-go. Getting old, I'm actually okay with it. I'm actually like, looking forward to. I'm looking forward
to get old.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't,
that means we're doing something right.
And then old is also, the word old is also based on perception. Because I'm sure your child thinks you're old.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
My daddy's old.
But I still feel like a freaking kid.
Yeah.
Same.
So, yeah, definitely.
What is the biggest risk I've taken in life? Definitely choosing to become a mother.
Ooh.
I think that there is no task that's higher than this one.
Nope.
There's nothing more important, nothing bigger than this one. And just wondering, like, am I screwing this person up? And learning how to evolve and give up that idea. It's just, sometimes you think that this is the right thing for me to do, but then the right thing for you to do isn't necessarily the right thing for that personality or that soul or what that combination of personality and soul in that person requires to grow in this life. And sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing because everybody's done this. That's not what that person needs. So it is risky because so much uncertainty, but I'm doing a great job.
Yes.
Let's ask him that.
Yeah. You're doing a good job because you wake up every day and you give your child space to be them as much as you can, and trying to figure out, how do I give you space to be you, but also keep you in a certain space so you're safe. That's so hard. Like,
yeah. Because it's like you don't want them to be too far out there wandering, but like you do want them to be able to roam and figure it out to a degree.
Safety, but then not too safe. So it's.
So my question is, what is my ultimate vacation? I would have to say Mars.
Wow.
Let's go to Mars. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to get there in my lifetime, but I want to see what these other planets look like.
I'm sure Tiffany would like that.
She wouldn't.
If it became like a possibility, she would like, yo, we're going to Mars.
I don't know if she would. She'll be like,
babe, can we just go to Hawaii?
Yeah, exactly. I would say like some other planet or something.
What would I do in life if I knew I couldn't fail? Everything. I would do anything that comes to my mind. Like, I have so many ideas all the time, and obviously some things, like, you have doubts here and there, but if I could do anything and I knew I wouldn't fail, I would just do everything and anything that comes to my mind. Even the most ridiculous idea, I would just jump and do it.
Freedom.
That complete freedom of just doing would that would be it. Everything and anything.
If I was mayor for the day, what 3 things would I change about the city? First thing is, I would restructure how we look at what humans need to thrive, which I've grown to understand is it counters how government works, because government is all about numbers and all about keeping things balanced and budgeted correctly. My campaign would be completely humanized. Okay, what do people need to thrive as actual humans? and everything that comes after that would stem from that. So I think humanizing the community experience and whatever else comes after that.
My question was, what was something as a kid or an adult that I didn't understand? And the first thing that comes to mind is I didn't understand that the world wasn't so easy to, I guess, obtain your accomplishments and your goals. You know, I feel like we are taught that you can just go to college, get your degree, you can come out, and by that time, you'll just be successful. And I felt for that dream. Like, I felt for that facade for, like, forever. Until I realized it wasn't that easy. And then I realized, you know, you put yourself in all this schooling, but it's really not the schooling that's going to help you get into that position. It's really just your yearning for knowledge and information. And then you have to be more specific on and intentional on where you want to go, and not just be like, it's just going to happen. You know what I mean? And that, I would say that was what I realized. Like, and my dad, when I was a kid, used to always say, you know, I worked the way I worked because when I was 4 years old, there was my dad took me to a bank. He was getting money out. Then we walked outside. There was an old homeless man sitting on the street with no shoes on. And I love shoes. At that time, I used to love shoes. He's like, you want to be like that man right there? You have to work. You have to work hard. And I started crying. Like, I came home to my mother. I'm like, Daddy said, like, I got to work. And I'm at this time 4 years old, like, damn, I need to get a job before. Because, like, I don't know how to work. I don't want to
be shoeless.
I don't want to be on the street. But, you know, that kind of relates to what I was saying. I didn't realize even at that time, like, it's not just about saying you want to work, but actually being intentional and having that plan, like really planning out your future, like planning it, like which direction you want to go, and just accomplishing things that you need to accomplish to be able to complete that goal.
If I saw someone getting mugged in the street, what would I do?
If I have my firearm on you, I'll help you. But
I was about to say, yeah, the circumstances are definitely important. If it's another grown man, I probably wouldn't do anything. I'd be like,
you got this, bro.
Yeah,
that's reality.
If the person has a gun, especially, I'm not doing nothing. If the person has a knife, especially, I'm not doing nothing. If it's a kid, I probably would do something, regardless of the circumstance. If it's a woman, it depends on the circumstance. But if it's a kid, I'm you know, whatever I need to do, I'm gonna, you know, try to help the kid. So yeah, if you get mugged and you're another grown ass man, you should have been prepared.
Nice. I'll at least snitch. I won't say I'll at least snitch.
I'll be a witness. I mean, like I'll
at least snitch. I'm a civilian.
Witness,
I'm not no gang nigga.
Absolutely.
I'm snitching on your ass for some shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I love that. He's like, I'm not in a gang. I'm
yeah, for real.
I've been on the
I'm
sidewalk.
not a part of the street life.
I'm on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I'm a civilian. That's a fact.
He did it. The one in the blue
dude right
sneakers.
there. That nigga. Right there. Get him.
Love it.
Okay.
All right. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
Yeah, it was.
That was so much fun.
Great conversation.
I love just being able to get serious, laugh, and then explore the gray areas that these SOA questions force us to explore, because I'm not thinking about what I would do if I was mayor. I don't want to be a part of the government.
It just makes you think, like,
like that's a good. Man, I should be prepared in case
that was
somebody
fun.
asks.
Thank you so much for your energy.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for your knowledge.
Facts.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for everything that's going to come from this.
Yes.
All right.
For sure.
So,
This
Mele,
was a
thank you
seed.
too.
I'm here.
I feel like you're jealous.
No, I'm not jealous.
You're
I'm absorbing all the information.
Okay.
You
I'm
spread
an open
knowledge.
book.
You spread knowledge.
All right, cool.
We family.
Yeah, I love this stuff.
Because I feel like I'm talking nicely to Terrence, and you're like, she's not talking about me at all.
Well, I'm used to it by now.
But yeah, greatly appreciated.
Absolutely.
Gratitude.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
Can I do some plugs in here? Can we start plugging
What?
some stuff?
Go what? Of
All right,
course.
so I want to say, my mother just started this venture. We're gonna be selling sea moss. Sea moss. So if anybody that wants sea moss for $20,
close
to home.
You can, $20 is a good price too.
Yeah, reasonable.
Love Miss Nilda.
Yeah, she's been doing her thing. So I definitely want to say, for anybody that needs sea moss, it has 92 nutrients in it. You can take it daily. Make sure you get the minerals that you need for your body, even if you're not taking vitamins. Up and Out brand, we have some hats on the way. I'm actually actively building. I would just say a merch brand. I don't want to say anything specific because we have flour, we have clothing, we have stuff. But just you can think like Supreme, how Supreme just puts their shit on everything. That's what Up and Out is. Up and Out has everything from cannabis flour to hoodies to papers you can smoke to everything. So just be on the lookout. I'm not on social media like that, but there will be a way you can find it because it will be on my Instagram. What else we got? Also, our film, Phone Jones, I know we didn't get into it now, but our film has been selected for Hip Hop Film Festival, which will be in August. So if anybody is going to be in Brooklyn at the Alamo Theater between August 10th and the 20th, you can come and see our independent film that me and my brother shot, directed, written.
In the building.
Yes, it's a dope theater. I don't know if we won anything, but this is our first attempt at having our project be judged and stuff, so we are very excited. And we would like for our people to come out and support Phone Jones, a horror film that covers just where we are right now with our phones, that we'll have an addiction to our phone. So if you want an interesting story, a story that you've never seen, a complete original, you can come and to the Alamo Theater between August 10th and 20th, and you can see our film that's in the Hip Hop Film Festival. So it's great. It's very, very great.
Love
so
it.
Definitely come out and support.
I feel like this is my first time clapping on
I know, right?
I'm clapping on the damn podcast, y'all. I'm clapping. Oh.
Yes,
all right.
I definitely have to put that in there. And
Yeah,
I want to say before I go, thank you. Like, this is my family right here.
Facts.
Yes.
We're family. I'm so happy and proud to be a part of the Nola Road experience. My wife is here. Nola mentioned it earlier that we set a record that my wife and I were here. So it's the first couple, I would guess, that both individually came here. Yeah. I'm ecstatic about that. Everybody needs to watch the Nola Road experience. It's not bullshit. This is not one of those podcasts where you just come to just be entertained and just hear about like celebrity shit. Fuck them celebrities. They don't do shit for you. You need to watch the Nola Road podcast where you can see Melee, you can see Nola Road, and you can see the expert work by the producer, AD in the back, holding it down, making sure that no matter what happens, this shit gets done, and that's what you need to watch.
I love it.
A lot of knowledge.
Facts.
So make sure you tune in. And I will also say, I feel like I'm throwing all this.
No, go for it.
Sure.
Because this is what we usually do. You're doing it for us, so when you're done,
so
we're
can
good.
Just wrap up.
Okay, so make sure, every day when you wake up, whoever you pray to and whoever you speak to, I'm not talking about any specific religion, you ask for that person or that being to give you complete awareness. Awareness for you to see things as they are, so that you can see things as they are and make the right decisions based off of what you see and not based off of the facade that's given to you. So ask for your awareness to be raised so that you can see things as they are, so that you can walk around being clear-minded and see it and know what you're supposed to do in that moment.
Awareness.
I just wanted to say that.
Beautiful.
Ashe.
Yes.
We don't need to say nothing at this point.
Yep.
We
Thank
can
you
just
so much,
close
bro.
out.
We appreciate it.
Gratitude.
All right, y'all. Much love.
Yes.
Peace.